It's on. Okay, so it's on right now? Okay, so I'm sorry, started without my mic on, but now it's on. And I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight to watch us in a virtual campaign party. Unfortunately, we can't all be together tonight because of COVID, and Democrats are practicing safe measures to have a campaign party. But first off, I just want to thank every candidate who put themselves out there, from the top of the ticket all the way down to city council and county commission races. I know how hard it is to be a public persona. I participated in races where I won myself and I lost myself. And so it's always funner to win, but every one of you who stood up, put yourself out there and let people listen to your values and your issues, it's so appreciated. And whether you win or lose, you did a fantastic job just by getting out there, knocking on doors, doing the work necessary to win an election. So we are going to have some great candidates here tonight. I'm super excited for you to be able to listen to them. We have got our gubernatorial candidate, Mike Cooney, as well as Casey Schreiner, the lieutenant gubernatorial candidate. And so I am super, super excited to welcome both of them. And come on over! Woohoo! Super, super excited to have you guys here. Thank you so, so much for coming. Yeah.
There's a mic.
There's a mic.
All right. Is it on? We'll figure this out. Are we on now? Is that okay? All right. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys here.
Thanks.
I so appreciate you guys.
Thanks. It's this is a great night. We've been working many, many months to get to this point. Montanans have been fabulous during this campaign, opened their arms, their hearts, their homes to us, and this is the culmination of our work. And I think Casey and I are feeling pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a 17, 18-month journey to get here, meeting with Montanans all across the state, and this is the big night. So we're really excited about it.
And I have to tip my hat to you guys, because the biggest race I ever ran was a county. I cannot even begin to imagine running a statewide race, and you guys have rocked every bit of it.
Well,
so tell me a little bit about what you guys did, how you felt you got here, maybe a favorite moment of your race.
Yeah, well, first of all, Montana is a big state, 147,000 square miles, and I think we covered a good portion of those. But, we're lucky, because in Montana, politics is still very personal. People want to get to know their candidates. When the pandemic hit, it did change the type of campaigning we could do. We couldn't be out with large crowds, and obviously there was a little break in the action when we were all asked to stay home. So, it did change things, but you just have to adjust. And so we were meeting Montanans where they were, and most people were staying home. So we were doing a lot of work on the computer, Zoom meetings, which we're all tired of, but thank goodness we had that technology to be in touch with people. And then we decided to get out, and we could get out safely and ask people to come together in small groups, socially distancing ourselves, wearing masks, making sure we were being safe. And, the campaign went on. You ask about one of the favorite moments, I would just say for me, the day I announced I was running for governor was incredibly, it was on the 3rd of July in my hometown of Butte. And we had a great crowd there. We spent time just kind of going around the community and seeing people, and people were cheering us on. The next day on the 4th of July, Butte always has a big 4th of July parade. We were able to be in that, and they just made it so warm and welcoming. And it was a great way to kick things off. And, you know, I always felt from that point that this was going to be an incredibly very positive experience. And really, this campaign has been very positive. We've met so many good people. You know, you get to travel around Montana. I mean, people pay big money to do that.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that, you know, on this campaign. And you know, we're so lucky to live where we do, and you know, to be able to campaign in a state. We have, you know, a lot of values in Montana. One of the values that I've grown up with, and so many people in Montana have, is we look out after each other. We take care of each other. You know, we just had a big snow, you know, people out of snow drifts, and people had slid off the road, and they were helping shovel their neighbors' sidewalks, and you know, that's the way we do it. Well, the pandemic is really no different. You know, wearing our little mask and just being careful. You know, we're not only protecting ourselves, but we're protecting our fellow Montanans. And that's what it's going to take in order to get this thing under control. And then eventually we'll get a vaccine. But until then, we need to really be vigilant. And we tried to do that throughout the campaign. And we just think it's so important that we set an example and do the right thing. And hopefully more Montanans will follow us. And we can get back on our feet much more quickly than really where we are at this point.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
You guys
thanks.
have done a fantastic job.
Thank
and
you.
I'm so excited for
Well,
you.
we're looking forward to seeing the results come in, and I think both Casey and I are feeling very, very comfortable. We've put everything on the line. I don't know that we could have done anything else. The people who have supported us in so many ways, financially, working with us, knocking on doors, talking to their friends and neighbors, thousands of people all across this great state who care about the future of Montana. We would not be here if it were not for them. And so if we're victorious tonight, which I'm feeling very, you know, very good about, there are a lot of people that can take credit. There's a lot of people who can take credit for that victory, and we're looking forward to celebrating with people throughout Montana.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks,
very
Robin.
much.
Appreciate it.
And all my best.
All righty. Well, we'll be back. We'll be back.
Yes, you will. I know you will. I can't wait.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You guys have a good evening.
You too now. Thanks. All righty. All right. Kevin, that's okay. We did one of these just ourselves the other day, and they didn't tell us it was a live thing. And so I started to say, oh, hey, we're here, and I.
Which I did not do, and so now I know. Okay,
Is it
are
on
we
right
both
now?
on?
Okay.
All right, Melissa Romano.
Hey, how are you?
I am folks, and it's such an honor to talk to you tonight because I am a union sister to
Exactly.
you.
Woohoo.
Retired, but still such an important part of my life, always, and so it's just a thrill to have you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for
and
having me.
Yeah, so excited to see your administration. Tell me a little about your race, what the high points, maybe the low points were.
Yeah, so I am so proud of my campaign and my team that we put together. It's been just a great ride. You know, COVID threw a real wrench into that. I'm sure I'm not the first candidate to say that, but you know, I am so proud of just our ability to kind of think outside the box and still be able to connect with folks. So one of the things that we did right away was I launched Storytime with Melissa on Facebook, and
awesome.
yeah, it was so fun. It was a great way to just start connecting with kids and really a passion of mine, which is just the importance of relationships. And you know, the other thing we saw was, you know, teachers all across Montana really showing how much they cared about their kids, and you saw teacher parades and teachers making videos for their students, and I really wanted to take that, the teacher in me, to my campaign as well. And so, you know, we launched Storytime with Melissa. I started a blog and just started giving folks access to teaching materials and lessons just to try to relieve some burden. And, you know, that's just a passion of mine, being able to connect with folks. And so I think, you know, we all have seen how important relationships are. You know, COVID has really showed us that. And so I really wanted that to still be part of my campaign. And I'm really proud that we were able to do that. You know, it's at the end, I really wanted to be able to say that we still connected with folks all across Montana, regardless of COVID. And I feel like we were able to do that. And I'm just so proud that we did that.
I really feel like you guys were able to do that too, and I'll never forget seeing the first teacher parade come by my house, like the end of March, I believe it was, and just standing in the window and bawling.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like that teachers care so much for the kids that they teach and
Yep.
react with, or you know, interact with every day. And so, and I've seen that with your candidacy the entire time.
Thank you.
And I agree. You should be so proud of yourself and proud of your campaign. It
Thank
is,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been amazing, Melissa. Do you have a high point that you want to share, or
Oh gosh.
yeah, it's hard to.
It is. I know it's hard to
Yeah,
pick
even
one. I mean,
one.
I would say definitely, you know, Storytime Live was definitely a high point. Just being able to, you know, connect with teachers and kids.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I had several past families of students and parents of mine who sent photographs of their kids watching me on Storytime, and so that was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I would say, you know, one of the high points of the campaign is just really traveling and getting to hear from Montanans. And you know, I can't tell you how many times I was in a community and someone would come up to me and say, I'm a teacher, or they would tell me about their favorite teacher.
Yeah.
And you know, that's always a magical moment for
Yeah.
the teacher, you know, just being
Definitely.
able to connect on that level with folks and hearing about their experience as a teacher, or hearing about their favorite teacher who impacted their life, which is, you know, that's why I'm running. Like,
Well,
I am,
yeah,
I-
and as
yeah.
Teacher of the Year, I
Yeah.
can't even imagine how many kids' lives you've impacted. So, one other thing I want because technology is so amazing today. Do you have any idea how many folks watched your Facebook posts on Stories with Melissa?
Oh gosh, I should.
I
should
mean,
know.
I-
but
it
I
seems like
don't.
there would be some way to tell how many hits.
Yeah, I'm sure I could go back and look at the Facebook
But I bet it
analytics,
would.
but yeah, we often found that it wasn't a huge amount during the actual live, but because the videos were housed on Facebook,
Right.
lots of folks would go back afterwards and watch, and
Yeah.
we'd get messages all the time, and people would message and ask for specific books they wanted to hear, and so that was really fun too.
yeah,
But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and especially coming from a math teacher to reading to
Yep,
kind of a little different genre. But
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for coming out tonight. So
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm so looking forward to having you as the superintendent of public schools. You deserve it, and it's
Well,
going to be
thanks.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get to work for Montana students and
Me
schools.
too.
So,
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
so much.
Yeah.
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you guys.
Okay, I cannot hear him.
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Because
Microphone.
all right,
Yeah, I can hear you guys loud and clear.
all right.
Can you hear me?
Now, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Is that Nathan?
All right.
All right.
Yep, a little echoey, but we have,
Oh, yourself? No. Where's the audio coming through on your Zoom?
I'm sorry?
Where's the audio coming through on your Zoom?
all right,
Are you getting audio through your Zoom over there?
Yeah, but it's only getting.
so, we are echoing a little bit. I don't know if you are, I know, but, welcome and thank you so much for being here, with us. I'm sure you're having your own campaign party, socially distanced campaign party. But we're super excited to have you and wanted to talk to you a little bit about the campaign, where you think you're at, what some of the high points of your campaign were, and we are ready to listen to you.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I don't know if I'm echoing with you guys, but I'm catching your questions, and I think we feel good about our campaign. We worked very hard throughout the campaign, and we're pretty happy with our fundraising numbers. We're happy with the message that we had. And you hear me still, Nathan?
Sorry, Shane, go ahead.
Oh, no worries. Someone's meatloaf will be done. We we were really happy with our message. I just tried to be myself, share my message of where I come from and the needs of my community and what I believe the needs are of the rest of the state of Montana. And I think people are demanding for someone in this office who's going to put Montanans first, protect Montanans, hold industry accountable, and do everything we can to provide more transparency and do everything we can to reduce insurance rates across the state of Montana. So, we just try to do our best to just be ourselves and let my life story and the work I've done as a legislator, as an attorney, speak for itself. And I think there's there's some major contrast with me and my opponent. I won't get into all of those right now, but I think there's a big difference just between who we are, and I think people hopefully will recognize that Montana wants honesty and integrity in this office. And I made a lot of promises that I'm ready to get started on working towards fulfilling. And I guess one of the greater highlights from my campaign was, I grew up hunting and fishing my whole life, and I don't think it's a secret that I love guns, and so I went out to one of the most memorable moments was when I went out to the shooting range with the New York Times reporter, and
Oh, wow. When was that?
that was a couple of weeks ago, right before that story came out in the New Yorker. Sorry, not the New York Times, the New Yorker.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was, I took a few, I own like 24 guns, so, and that's just something I grew up around. I grew up in rural Montana in a small town where, me and my dad sat out in our backyard shooting rifles, and shooting 22s and just target practice, so that's just part of my life. And it's something that, I love doing. I love going to the range and kind of just, focusing on what I'm doing there, focusing on shooting and trying to be concise and precise. And it was fun taking someone out there who never, I don't think she had ever shot a gun in her life. So that was a fun experience.
My question.
Yeah, it was, she did great. She's a very smart person and a very smart person. So it was, wasn't very long before she was shooting better than me. So just like my wife does, me and my wife took a shooting class together, and my wife is a better shot than me, so that's fine with me. It makes me happy that she enjoys doing it with me.
Yeah, that's a great thing to be able to do together, for sure. So did she walk away, the reporter walk away thinking like, I am so glad I went to Montana and got to hang out with Shane Morigeau and learn how to shoot?
I think it was a fun experience, just because I think I think a lot of the focus in that article was on the Senate race with Governor Bullock. But I think what caught her eye as far as the story was that there's Montana is unique in the people that we have and the culture in Montana. And I think her noticing like my story as a Native person, being a member of the Salish Kootenai tribes, growing up in a small community, an affinity for guns myself, and and her seeing that like this is a Democrat who's out here, he's responsible, and for me it's just a good experience just to show people we represent Montana, and we're not DC. People sometimes lump us together, but we have what Montanans expect us to represent Montana, and that's what I love about this state. And I think I just try to be myself, and show her that there's a lot of good people here, and that we look out for each other, and that we have a different set of culture, but we're responsible and who we are and what we do in our state. And I hope tonight is a representative of that.
Thanks. And you know what, Shane, I am guessing that she went back to New York and said that this is one of the high points of her career. And this whole campaign for her was being able to come out here and spend time with you. So thank you so much, and thanks for running. We're super excited for your administration and for your service on the land board. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And, I think, the numbers and people standing in line still it's amazing, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm happy that people in Montana are participating and voting and getting involved in our democracy. And, and I think it matters when everybody does, because then that shows what, as a consolidated voice as to where we stand as a democracy when all those votes come in. So I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm nervous too, but I'm also excited to see some change in this country and to see some great people elected into other offices in the state of Montana too.
Definitely. Well, we wish you all the best tonight, and we will be keeping up with you and watching the results.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you all, and thanks for all your work too. I know all of you have busted your butts and been very supportive of all the candidates up and down the ticket. So that work doesn't go unnoticed, and I think it's people poured their heart and soul into these races, and I think we're going to see some results because of that.
I agree. Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Have a good night. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you. Good. Come on over. Come on over to the couch. Who do I feel like? I'm trying to think of what talk show host sits on a couch. And Johnny Carson. Yes. And I'm trying to think of who would be my Ed McMahon to my Johnny. You are my Ed McMahon. Yeah. All right.
How are you? Is this on? Working okay? Beautiful.
All right. Hey.
How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I am
No
super
complaints.
excited to have you here, our next Attorney General for the state of Montana.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just see a governorship in your future as well.
One step at a time.
I know, right. And I understand that. But so, tell me a little about your race. What were maybe the high points? Something really super fun that happened to you?
Gosh, it's hard to single one out. I'll say one particular high point sticks to mind. So just this last weekend, we were on our final GOTV tour, and we did 1,500 miles in 3 days.
I
and
watched.
It was great. And in Havre,
every Facebook Live I watched.
Havre was probably the best event we did.
It was awesome.
And the best part was there was a train of Trump pickup trucks that drove around the block, started honking their horns, and so then we all started honking our horns, and it was like sharks and jets, and it was lit up, and I have never seen any of our candidates so turned up, and it was great, and it changed my stump on the rest of the stumps we did, and then we got in a car and drove to Billings, which is what all good candidates do in Montana.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was unfortunate in Billings we weren't able to host because Metro Park ended up shutting down pretty much completely.
Yeah.
Which is where we were going to have you. But so what are you thinking? What are you looking forward to in your administration?
Well, a lot. I mean, this is a job where the framers of our Constitution realized the natural tendency of government power, of private power, to accumulate and to grow and to take power away from us, we the people. And that's why we have an independently elected Attorney General. That's what this job is about at its core. And there are so many opportunities for advocacy where our Attorney General should be out there in front fighting for us. And, there are a lot on issues that get talked about in politics frequently, like, prescription drugs I talk about a lot. That's a political issue. But there are a lot on other issues that don't get talked about. I called into a radio show this morning, and they were complaining about the speed of their internet. And I said, did you know that in Montana, the large internet providers won't map out the quality of their service because it's so poor? And I said, everyone needs to go to Internet Speed Test and check what they're paying for against what they're getting.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, that's an issue where AGs can show leadership on the national scale. Privacy is an issue where AGs can show leadership on a national scale. So it's a lot of times it's issues that we don't think of as traditional political issues, but where some powerful institution that we think is outside our control is taking our rights away. That's where AGs stand up.
Wow. See, I learn something new every day.
It's a great position.
Honestly, I did not know about that at all. So
it's a great position, and not all the issues are headline grabbing, but they make a difference in people's lives, and that's ultimately what we should demand from our government.
absolutely. And I remember just being part of the legislature, and I was on the Judiciary Committee all through the House and in my term on the Senate. And the AG's office was such a critical component. Coming and advocating for folks in Montana and issues that a lot of people are on the back burner until the AG brings it forward and says, hey, this is what we're advocating for. And it's like, oh, golly, yeah, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
And so thank you for coming forth with that.
Well, and thank you. I mean, this is a part of what's been fun about the campaign is to talk to people about what this job is. And on so many issues, it's a joy as a candidate to get to say, you thought you were stuck with this, but you're not.
Yeah.
And we can do something about that problem.
Right.
And the AG can uniquely do something about it without getting permission from Congress, where it gets watered down and nothing happens. You can just act. And
Absolutely.
so it's a profoundly important position, and
it is so important, and just the number of cases that you have argued in front of the Supreme Court. How many is that?
So I've
so
been
far?
involved in 6 cases in the U.S. Supreme Court,
Which is amazing.
and a few, state Supreme Court here, and that's that's the kind of advocacy. I mean, a lot of the Republican ads of the cycle are about prosecuting criminals, and Austin takes plea bargains out in Roosevelt County, but that's not really the job of the Attorney General. It's to take on the biggest cases
That's right.
where everything is at stake, and where we have to win as a state for our values. And that's the
That's
work I've
right.
done and the work I want to do as Attorney General.
Yep. That's where your experience is, and that's where your wins are.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I'm just thrilled to have you, and super excited to
Well, thank you.
see what
Thank
you
you.
do in your administration.
One, I got to say, it's been a great cycle, and it's been a pleasure to run with the folks you're talking to tonight. Shane, Bryce, Melissa, are just such high-quality, decent people. And I've said this last night in our event for folks that watched it, but this is not the millionaires slate. These are not people doing this because it's a hobby and it's something to put on your resume. We're doing it because, Melissa's a teacher. I'm a new dad. Bryce has dedicated his life to voting rights.
Absolutely.
Shane has a very personal and intense story with the insurance industry. We're doing this because we have to, and we rely on it. We understand the struggles of people that rely on it.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad you said that, because just watching every Get Out the Vote effort that everybody has participated in, you can just see from the beginning, the first one, through that incrementally you guys have just grown closer and closer and closer, and your friendships are, I think, gonna last throughout your lifetimes now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's not just like all about the campaign, but everything. It just came through very clearly how close you guys all are, and how fun you were having together.
Yeah, and the supporters too. I mean, this campaign, when these polls close here in a few minutes, it will be because of the grassroots supporters that pulled us across the finish line. And one other kind of highlight, and I'll stop talking. Yesterday, we're going around the state doing these tours where we launch off canvases. Yesterday, we had an event where the canvassers didn't care about our speeches; they just wanted to go knock more doors.
Yeah.
And that was such grassroots organic energy that I woke up in the morning today and thinking about that.
And your heart bursting out of your chest, thinking about how much work everybody is putting into it for you, and to make sure that you are the next Attorney General.
Yeah.
Yep. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
All our best to you.
Thank you
and
much.
We're so excited to see your administration.
Well, thank you. Well, have a wonderful rest of your night. We're excited to see
Okay.
results here pretty soon.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do we have him? There he is. Yep.
Hey, folks.
Hey, Bryce. I got you in my. Yep. It's working this time. Woohoo. Oh, it's so good to see you. It's been quite a while since I've actually gotten to see you in person. So at least it's kind of fun to have you here on Zoom tonight and election night. So tell us a little bit about your campaign and maybe the high point of the last year and a half. If there's one. Or maybe.
I mean, it's been such an incredible journey. I mean, I've been just so moved by the opportunity to meet incredible people in every corner of this state. And, you know, obviously with the challenges of COVID-19, we haven't been able to get around the state as much as any of us would have liked. But I feel like we have made up for that in a lot of ways with some of the innovative things that the folks of the coordinated campaign have come up with in the final days of the campaign here. Some of these drive-in feeds on our Native American reservations, you know, the drive-in GOTV events that have been incredibly fun, the energy coming off those just over the moon, and just having a chance to talk with people about some of the concerns they've had with this office over the last 4 years. I mean, we have seen unprecedented amounts of corruption and incompetence in this office, and people are just eager to clean it up. I think they understand what's on the line if we allow the Stapleton Jacobson administration to continue for another 4 years. And I'm running for this office to make sure we can clean up that mess.
So, Bryce, I mean, I served in the legislature with you, and that was always one of your issues and key issues through your entire career is voting rights for folks. And I always thought it was because you came, you know, directly from college, it seemed like, where you were helping folks vote there, and so it just carried on right into your legislative career. I also have to say that I'm from Billings, and so the Billings Gazette has been so critical, or I mean, just of your opponent, just and the whole administration that's been in effect for the last 4 years. And so I just am really hopeful for your campaign. But what was a high point for you, do you think?
Well, I think there's been so many high points, and I think it comes down to many of the people that I've got to connect with along the way. I mean, hearing the stories of people who have struggled with this office, you know, having a chance to understand some of the things that they've been working through over the last number of years and coming together with them, bringing them to the table to think about how we can create some of the solutions that will move this office forward. I mean, we've been talking about bringing together a business council that will make sure that the folks who utilize these business services in this office, you know, aren't just being stepped over, and you don't have a bunch of people in this office that think that they know better than the people who are working on Main Street. I mean, listening to them directly and figuring out how we can make that office work better for them has been a huge priority for me. You know, and obviously, like, we need to have somebody in this office that isn't spending every waking moment of their life trying to put barriers between voters and their ballots to advance some sort of a partisan agenda. I mean, I got my start in politics by registering people to vote, going out in knee-deep snow and pouring rain to make sure that every eligible person was able to vote. And when I was out there, I never said, well, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Are you an independent? Whatever it may be. Before I registered somebody, we just registered everybody because we thought that our democracy was stronger when everyone had their voice. And I'm proud to be a Democrat. I'm proud to be running as our Democratic candidate, but I do think this office has become far too hyper partisan. And we got to have somebody on there that runs under a party label, but once they get in there, it should be a fully nonpartisan sort of job, one where you're just there to serve the people of the state of Montana.
Exactly, I agree 100%, and folks around Montana do too, because you have had former Secretary of State Republicans come out in support of your campaign, and you are so right. This office should not be a partisan back and forth. It should be guaranteeing everybody their voice through their vote. And you've done a fantastic job of telling people that that's what it's about. And so thank you so much. I am so looking forward to your being Secretary of State.
Well, I'm very, very eager to see these results coming in the next couple minutes here. But let me just say thank you to you, Robin, and to everybody who's on the stream here for the work that you all have done to make sure that we have the opportunity to win this thing in the next couple hours here. It has been a full-scale team effort, and I am so, so excited that we have built a campaign that has gone the distance and beyond. So grateful to the people that I've been working with, as well as the folks of the party who are absolutely dedicated, amazing people that have made sure that not only my campaign, but all of our Democratic campaigns had every resource we could ever need.
Excellent. Good job, Bryce. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much, folks. We'll talk to you soon.
There, okay. Hey, Sapphire, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So we were just wanting to visit with you a little bit about the Native Vote program and your role within the Democratic Party as far as that program and maybe how it's going to be carried forward. So how did you get involved originally?
Originally, I got involved this past spring before. Hold on, my dad is coming up the stairs. I originally got involved this past spring. We wanted to start creating central committees on each reservation, and the goal to creating central committees and other programs on each reservation, including the Blue Bench project. We added two Native people on to as representatives on the Blue Bench project. But all these goals are just trying to create programming that is all year long instead of just once every time an election occurs. Sorry, I got a little flustered with my dad coming up the stairs. Mainly what we want to do is make sure that Native people's voices are counted and at the table in the Democratic Party. For years now, Democrats have gone out onto reservations asking for votes. And yes, usually Native Americans do vote for Democrats. We brought out the vote for Jon Tester. We helped get him elected. But at the same time, there are still a lot of people who are right now, I would say, just across the country, not just Natives, but people who are how can I say this? We want more people at the table, more diverse voices, more people counted. People are frustrated with the system, and I think the way that we can help those people to not be as disillusioned about the system is by bringing them to the table so that they have a voice and are counted to. And I think that starts with doing year-long programs, talking to people in each tribal community about what issues they care about, what issues the candidates should be bringing about.
So, and the Democratic Party has really stepped it up this year, it seems, with their Native program, and it looks as though we're going to be running that year round rather than only during the election season. So can you talk about what that year round program will look like?
Right now, we're in the process of creating central committees on each reservation. And what exactly is a central committee? It's basically, it has a vote within the main structure of the party and the platform of the party. So every county right now in Montana has a central committee. And our goal again is to create central committees on every reservation, so every tribal community, so that each tribal community will have people on the ground year long who will hold meetings, who will know what issues each tribal community cares about and bring it to the Democratic Party, to bring it to the platform, being able to have a vote on the platform and within the party structure. Besides that, doing other programs, each central committee would be able to do different programs throughout the year. This past summer, we held a virtual powwow for to bring out the Native vote, and those kind of things could happen within the central committees, and every tribal community would be able to decide what type of programming and issues they want to bring to the forefront for their communities. We also have the Blue Bench Project, and the Blue Bench Project is another program from the Democratic Party where we have people from across the state, people in rural areas, people in tribal communities who serve on the bench and this program, this project basically brings people to the bench, like people that they find people in their communities who have potential and maybe just need that extra push to get involved and to become a leader to represent their communities as a Democrat. So those are some programs that we have in the working for the year. And with those, there's so much potential for growth that we can do so much more, and it just being more local and focused with each tribal community on what they want to bring to the table. And I think Donovan's on, so if there's anything he wants to add.
No, I think you pretty much covered it. I apologize for being a little late. I'm pretty excited about having our tribal committees. I've been part of our central committee here in Butte Silver Bow for the better part of 10 years, and I'm going on second term as chair, and it has been a really big it's been a huge experience to be able to participate at our state conventions and levels. I've been able to have an effect on our platform. Our state party platform is what our candidates run on. It's what John Tester ran on. It's what Steve, Bullock usually runs on, and it's what what they usually run on as candidates. And so having tribal committees at the table to be able to help affect that platform is where we're going to start getting issues to the table that affect Indian country. So, stuff going on in eastern Montana or, up in Blackfeet, we can have those tribal committees bringing their issues to the table and putting it into the platform so that our candidates can be addressing that kind of stuff with the entire body. So, and having votes at the table to be able to elect our leaders, to become a treasurer or the executive director or, even our chair. So it's nice that Indian country now has, a seat at the table through these tribal committees. And they're all, it's all year round. And they have elections at their local levels, and we're helping to facilitate those central committees by helping them, structure their bylaws and helping them, get connected if they need to virtually or, with hotspots and stuff. So finding people that are very active in those tribal committees are going to be, it's crucial. And it's nice that we're going to have a voice at the table through that. So.
Well, and Donovan, you especially already have a voice at the table too, because you are the treasurer of the state party. And also a legislative candidate who it looks like you will be serving in our legislature starting in January. But I think the party has recognized how important it is to have year-round programs and not just go to Native communities or Indian country during election season to ask for their vote and then not be there for the rest of the year. And so can you talk a little bit about how important you think that is for us to have changed into a year-round program rather than just during a campaign season?
No, you're right. It's we, to be a little bit more specific on, we've had our Montana Indian Democratic, it's a MIDC, Montana Indian Democratic Council, and at one point we had Jason Smith and Karen Calais, who came. I was elected on as a the executive board through our central committee here in Butte Silver Bow, and so that put me at the table to be able to help make decisions on electing, who our next executive director is, who our chair is. But Karen Calais and Jason Smith have came and directly spoke to the board and made it very, very clear that Indian country is getting tired of only being paid attention to every election cycle. And so that is where that came in when, starting to think about how we can be a little bit more effective. And it's hard for tribal committees to only be able to be a part of their counties when, like Crow's so far away from Hardin, and, the central committee shouldn't only just reside in one part of the county, especially when it's split on the reservations. And so same goes with Lame Deer in the Rosebud area and Bighorn County. And a lot of these people on the reservation don't want to travel to these areas to be a part of these central committees because, whether it's because they don't have enough, they don't have transportation, or they don't feel comfortable going off the reservation. And so these tribal committees allow people to feel comfortable in their areas, in their hometowns, to be able to stay in places like Lame Deer and be able to start a central committee and have their meetings there and talk about what issues they have going on there. Whether it's part of this pandemic or, whether it's, there's the meth issue is really huge all over Indian country. And there's a lot of stuff that, the water compacts, there's a variety of issues that we could be putting on our platform that we can all be standing behind as a party. And I think it's more powerful to have the Montana Democratic Party standing behind the issues that Indian country cares about. But we're not going to know what those issues are until we bring people to the table to let us know what those issues are and how important they are to people in their area. So hopefully that answered their question.
Good. Thank you so much. And it looks like Sandy Lucky, our executive director, is giving some comments right now. So thank you guys both for joining us, and all the best to you, Donovan, tonight. I know you're going to kick butt. So
thank you. Actually had a
we'll see you
little
soon.
election get together. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. There she is. Representative Abbott.
Hey, Robin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I think we're good. So, everybody, we are going to talk to Representative Kim Abbott, a legislator from Helena. Just completed her second term in the House and headed into her third. And then Luke Howard, who is the director of MDLCC,
Yep.
The branch of the Democratic Party that works on legislative races and gets our fine candidates elected to the legislature. So, what do you think are the key races, legislative races this year to watch?
I think in the state senate, the biggest key one to watch is the reelection of Margie McDonald on the west end of Billings. That's a race, Margins Margie is her nickname.
Yeah.
She's won consistently in her state house career. She's won by 4 or 5 votes. And then when she first won this election, she won by like 23 votes or something in 2016. And, we're hoping we can get her across the line outside of a recount margin this year. And she can start to live down her nickname for a change.
We called her landslide.
That's the right attitude, Robin Driscoll. Luke, what are you doing?
Well, one of my favorite stories from Margie is my predecessor, Amanda, on election night in 2016 was really, really worried about that race. And Margie says, Amanda, it's going to be fine. I'm going to win by 20 votes. And she ended up winning by 24 votes or something.
And I'm going to say that has a lot to do with me talking to James Clifford and picking up ballots. But no, Margie is one of the absolute hardest working legislative candidates
Absolutely.
that Billings has ever seen. So if anybody can pull it out, it's her. Kim, how do you think your race is looking?
I feel pretty good. Early, I have, I have an early lead that is performing about how I'm supposed to perform. So I feel good about that. In Helena, we have a great delegation that, gets out and runs good campaigns. And we always feel good if we're performing the way we should. So I do feel good about my race, and I'm very curious about, how some other races around the state like Margie's are going to go, and agree that no one works like Margie works. That is just, she sets a high bar.
Did you mention any other ones that you're really watching?
Oh yeah. So I'm looking at Jade in Billings, she's an incredibly talented legislator who, I know is in a tight district where she has to work hard, and I hope she comes back. And, I'm looking up at, up in Great Falls at a couple of the races up there. Barbara Bassett is a talented legislator also who, is in a race where she's got to work hard. And so I'm watching those. I don't know, Luke. What race? I always look to you.
Words out of my mouth.
Oh, did I?
One of the other races that is important to watch is going to be House District 3 up in the Flathead. This
Debo,
is the district that Zach Perry had won the seat after running 3 times for it. He won it 2 or 3 times in a row by slim margins. And then Zach actually moved away from Montana and had to resign his seat. So we're hoping Debo Powers up there, Representative Debo Powers, gets to remain Representative Debo Powers. It's a changing district. I think it's Columbia Falls predominantly, and so the question becomes: is it shifting more in the direction of Kalispell, or is it shifting more in the direction of Whitefish?
Yeah, and Debo, just Robin, I don't know if you had a chance to meet Debo, but what a committed, just a committed public servant who I think, Luke, you can you can back this up, I think, like worked really hard, was super diligent. You know, hopefully, you know, got out and, you know, Zach Perry was a special candidate up there. I think we all recognize that. He was a hometown guy who worked really hard to win that district the first time. But, you know, I think Debo is just a very committed legislator. And so hoping she can pull it out.
And she's certainly done the things that we would need her to do to put herself in a position for a win. So
yeah.
It's one of those races that I know a lot of attention got paid to it, both certainly by the party, but also by some of our partner organizations. And we'll see if it was enough.
Well, cool. Kim, as a whip in the House of Representatives, why is it important to you to elect more Democrats?
So, boy, in the legislature, to have Democrats in a majority means that we have the ability to move policy that improves the lives of Montanans in the way that democratic values dictate. So access to healthcare in the way that we think it should be, protecting people from discrimination who have pre-existing conditions, access, affordability, making sure that the delivery system is in place. You know, having Democrats in a majority in the legislature means that we can pass policy that will work on the ground without compromise. You know, it's a big deal. I think that Democrats over, you know, the last decade and change have learned to get the best policy possible, compromising with Republicans and having the governor sign it. But the truth is that, you know, work requirements and things like that for Medicaid don't always work. And we could have better policy if we had more Democrats in office. The same is true in infrastructure investment. The same is true in terms of protecting public lands. So, you know, having majorities means that we can pass robust policies that help Montanans and protect Montana families in a way that we haven't been able to before. So it's a big deal to me to try to help Democrats get elected. You know, obviously the result of the governor's race tonight is going to dictate the direction of a whole bunch of policies that the legislature is able to pursue. So it's, and you were in the legislature for a long time. You were, I think, a very talented legislator from my perspective. So you know how this goes. It's high stakes.
Yep. And I don't know, Luke, have you seen any legislative results coming in? Because I have not.
I haven't seen anything but some early results out of, you know, Jefferson County, Missoula County, and the reports we've gotten is Missoula County still has a line, but a lot of the results we're seeing in that area are pretty on par with what we would expect.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a real close race in House District 96, but we expected that race to be close. That's going to be kind of that airport area, kind of that northwestern corner of Missoula. So it's Tom Winter's old seat, and Tom, of course, didn't run for re-election this year. So we've got Lonnie Conley, who's a good union nurse, running for that seat against the... Yeah. And Lonnie's very talented. I think, you know, having a nurse in the legislature in this day and age would be an awful lot of fun, and it'd be good to have somebody who's got that experience in the legislature.
Yeah, you know, actually, when I served in the legislature, we had a nurse from Missoula, Teresa Henry. I'm sure you remember her, Kim.
Oh yeah, what a joy, Teresa. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, and just the skill set and the knowledge that they bring to that table is know,
Absolutely.
especially in this day and age when healthcare is such a huge important issue.
Yeah. Well, and Lonnie's been a contact tracer in Missoula, so she's been very much on the front lines of this. Yeah. So she's had kind of a wild campaign cycle in regards to all that.
Yeah, that's got to be tough duty trying to perform both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jobs. So more power to her, and every legislative candidate that runs is just, you know, I it's very close to my heart just because I was there, but the amount of work and time and effort that folks put into those races, and we're still so lucky in Montana where not this time necessarily, but most of the time we get out and actually knock on doors and meet folks face to face, hear their issues, and so much of the time, just that one-on-one contact changes people's minds and people's. I just remember thinking about folks like my opponents when they'd send out negative mailers about me or whatever. Most of them hadn't gone and knocked on doors, and I had, and so it was always like, well, go ahead and send it out, but folks are going to look at that and go, well, I talked to her and she wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's just a great way still in Montana to be elected to office and just put in that effort, and it's fun. Actually, knocking on doors is super fun. But well, I wish you guys the best of luck. I'm super excited. Yellowstone County, the last I heard, still has lines at Metro.
Yeah, that's what we've heard too.
So, fingers crossed. Kim, I'm sure you'll be in leadership again this session. I look forward to watching you. You're always a treat to watch.
Oh man, I love you so much, Robin. As always, it's a delight.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good. Bye, you guys. Bye, Luke.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Robin.
Get initial results, and then the rest of them will
Ready.
be in the morning, I guess. That was kind of a surprise. It's just been a way.
All right, you guys. how are you feeling at finally the end of this long campaign and all of the work that you guys put into this to make sure that
Results, and then the rest of them will be in the morning, I guess. That was kind of a surprise. It's just been a wait.
All right, you guys. How are you feeling at finally the end of this long campaign and all of the work that you guys put into this to make sure that
Results, and then the rest of them will be in the morning, I guess. That was kind of a surprise. It's just been a wait.
All right, you guys. Okay. How are you feeling at finally the end of this long campaign and all of the work that you guys put into this to make sure that
Results, and then the rest of them will be in the morning, I guess. That was kind of a surprise. It's just been a wait.
All right, you guys. Okay. How are you feeling at finally the end of this long campaign and all the work that you guys put into this to make sure that results and the rest of them will be in the morning, I guess. That was kind of a surprise. It's just been a wait. All right, you guys. Okay. How are you feeling? The end of this long campaign and all the work.
We're getting everything you say about 2 or 3 times right now.
Okay. She said that she's really echoing and that they're getting everything that I say about 2 or 3 things. So, do all of you guys have headsets on?
Everything you say about 2 or 3 times right now.
Okay. Or also, Nathan said to mute yourself if you're not speaking.
Chat is disabled right now, Nathan.
Am I still echoing? Yep. Hannah. Okay, is it still echoing, you guys? Yep, Hannah said yes. Okay. One more time. Okay, so is it echoing now? Or can you guys hear me even?
I can hear you and it's smooth now.
Yeah, it's good. Me
too.
Okay, so
One more
let's
time.
go,
Okay.
Lynn.
So is it echoing now?
No,
It's starting up again, folks.
You were gonna start, Lynn, with
You guys hear me even?
like
I can hear
key
you and it's smooth
legislative.
now.
Yeah, it's good. Me too. Okay. So one more time.
Go,
Okay. So is it echoing now?
It's starting up again, folks.
This is not working.
You were gonna start, Lynn, with you guys hear me even?
Like
I can hear you and it's smooth now.
Yeah, it's good. Me too.
All right, are we ready? All right, so thank you so much for bearing with us, and I'm sorry that we were not able to get our county chairs and rural folks on here. Technical difficulties prevented us from doing that, but so I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. All the candidates that came out and joined us, I'm sure you had an awesome time listening to them just as I did. And so I am just going to close by thanking everybody who put their heart and soul and feet into the races that we have in Montana. There's no way that the Democratic Party nor the candidates throughout our state could do it without every volunteer hour spent on the phones, knocking doors, and making phone calls. It's you guys are the heart and soul of the party, and we so appreciate it. The staff at the party has been phenomenal. They have done so much work this year, and there's just no way to thank folks enough for everything that they've done. And so we will continue through the night to watch results, and hope like heck that we are continuing on the path that we're on right now. So I wish you all a good night, and fingers crossed that we will know tomorrow who which candidates have won in Montana. Thanks.